Hey everybody, Danny Millerhead here from Palo Alto Networks. I want to talk to you real quick about how Traps and WildFire work together. Traps and WildFire work together in a number of different ways. The first is when a file is attempted to be opened, Traps will check with WildFire to see if we'd seen that file before or that threat before. If it comes back that we've seen it, Traps immediately blocks it and the verdict is rendered on the spot. If it turns out that we have not seen that file before, it then goes to the Traps machine learning engine. Now, the machine learning engine looks at hundreds of different attributes of that file or potential threat and is trained by WildFire. WildFire has over 5 trillion artifacts inside its database of both bad and good files and uses that information to continuously train Traps to identify what those threats are. Now, the reason that WildFire is so critical to Traps doing its job is by nature of where our technology is deployed and who's using it and the volume of traffic and threats that we see on a regular basis. We see over 300 million new malware samples every month, which give us an updated view of what the threat landscape looks like, what the threats are that are coming through, as well as observing the techniques. And so when those new files come in, we're constantly training Traps and updating Traps to look for those new threats, for those new techniques, to ensure that we are well ahead of the threat landscape and of our adversaries. Now, we're also using that information when a new threat is uploaded to WildFire. WildFire then creates protections after it does its initial analysis and then redistributes that threat intelligence to all of our customers, all of our install base, all of firewalls, all Traps customers, all Aperture customers, to ensure that we have coordinated enforcement. When you have Traps working for you and you have your next-gen firewalls working for you, and all those files are getting uploaded to WildFire, it means that we can find those threats regardless of where they originate, whether it's on the endpoint, through network traffic, or in a SaaS application, get that threat information, send it to WildFire. WildFire then redistributes that information so that there's coordinated enforcement between your firewalls, between your endpoints, and your security posture is that much more reinforced. So let's say Traps identifies a file that we've never seen before, sends it up to WildFire. WildFire puts it through the static analysis, dynamic analysis, sandboxing, bare metal analysis to ensure that it's looked at all the different facets of this file and observe the behavior. Once it understands that behavior and it determines how the threat is getting executed, it then creates a prevention and then redistributes that information and that threat intelligence to our firewalls, to other Traps installations, Aperture installations, so that we can have that coordinated enforcement. And this happens in near real time. Traps is constantly sending that information to WildFire. The firewalls, customers around the world are constantly sending all their information to WildFire, which gives us the ability to improve the accuracy, to improve the coverage, on not just the endpoints, but in the firewalls. Everybody's learning from these new threats, and WildFire is a critical component of that. I should also note that WildFire is, as I mentioned earlier, is integrated into Traps. There is no additional license. It's included in the Traps subscription, which makes it even that much more powerful, whether you're deploying Traps in a standalone deployment or with our next-gen firewalls or other Palo Alto Networks technology. For more information about Traps and WildFire, please visit www.paloaltonetworks.com/traps. Thanks a lot.